Hello. So I was just going to talk about being like cocooned and like an incarnate, whatever my fucking Freemason family did. But also being like, possessed and everything because people are trying to hijack it. But I'm in a cocoon for most of my life. So it's like I live most of my life not present. All my friends and family, past lovers and shit. I just not present. I'm just on this weird autopilot. I could kind of come through every now and then, dancing or the extreme exercise, like when I'd have fun at a playground or something, or leaps and bounds or someplace like Discovery Zone. Um, I'll kind of break through at times, but most of the time I was just like in a cocoon and not present. My father died, when a lot of family members died, just all my interactions, all the gatherings, just everything. Just it was really until recently, and I still kind of struggle to be present. I think it's this root canal I got to remove that's kind of dragging me down. I've been sick the past like 10 days or so, just very mild. But occasionally, like, it hit me in the front, and it was like really fucking, with my tooth that's dead apparently, but it became really sore, and like the universe, like, come on, get this removed. And since I'm like a reflector and I'm a reflection of the people, and the people are a reflection of me. They've taken a lot of the people's teeth and everything, and now it's time to give one of my own. It was stupid to try to keep it with like a root canal or something. Um, and I think that's the thing that's dragging me down the most. I recently got a CPAP machine, and it hasn't really helped. Like, I haven't used it since I've been sick, like the past 10 days. Um, and I think they're asking for it back, but then that's okay because when I first had it years ago, I had like 30 some odd events an hour. Now I have less than one. It says like point 0.8. Before I was trying to like pad the stats and everything, kind of like leave it on to, you know. But anyway, so when I was like actually using it, it was like point 0.8 an hour. So like my body has healed a lot to where I like don't need it. I still get that stupid psychic attacks and dues and everything. When I'm trying to sleep and shit, I get bad sleep most of my life. So at the times I have gotten good sleep, it's been super helpful. So it's part of psychological warfare and attrition shit that they do. Um, but yeah, so I need to kind of maintain people's good advice and take it and try some things to help me sleep deeply. And that would be the best thing because the apnea really isn't an issue. So then, I'm going to get this thing removed because I think it's just secretly infected and it's just fucking me up, and it's like right by my brain and shit. Um, it's in the top row here. And, they've taken a lot from the people, a lot of their teeth, getting them hooked on meth and other drugs and shit, and it's like fucking their body up. So now I need to give one of my own, because, we're both, reflect each other. So, and represent each other. So, yeah. Yeah. So, I'm trying to get, to total presence. Um, it's weird, like, yeah, the gym been up my ass like most of my life up until this year, sometime this year, I think it was a few months into the year, but I can't be, I don't quite remember, maybe January or February. But yeah, it's been nice. I think some nice witches have helped. Sorry if I'm a little skittish, and I'm definitely really skittish with sex. Like, if you straight up like, let's have sex, I'll be like, ah. But if you're like, let's hang out, let's like Scrabble or something, like, I'll be like, okay. Um, and that's maybe when you could get me. But my sex is sacred, and I should, work on some things. I'm going to work on some magic, I guess. some nice personal magic, just to help me get my book done and unplug some from the internet and all this stuff. Because then you manifest for them. When you focus on it all, then you're manifesting for them. And they like that. They're like, oh, look at our bullshit. Look at this bullshit there. Look at that bullshit there. That's why I don't want to, like, make a podcast even. Because then you're just going to be focusing on it and manifesting for them. The problem is as helpful as the internet is and whatnot, it's also very hurtful, and we manifest reality, and then when everyone focuses on their negative bullshit, then you manifest for them, and that's something the sheep gotta fucking learn, for real. So, waking up the other magical lions, not talking about Zionist ones where they're like, I have no heart and courage. Yeah, we know that. But the actual lions, and tigers too, and dragons, sure, all of them. It's just a fucking metaphor. Just everyone relax, the magical tiger, sure, it's more powerful. All right, but there's something that could take the tiger out too. So, all right, so there's always like a bigger fish. All right, everyone relax. All right, it's just a metaphor. So yeah, you guys have a lovely fucking day. Um, and enjoy the great awakening that we're all living through. Yeah, and don't think negatively. Don't manifest for them. All right, all right. Peace the fuck out. Of course, I always got to add to these. So, one thing about not being present for most of my life, and just like a lot of people steering me, and there was a lot of good and a lot of evil too, was I learned a lot of bad habits, being not present. Like, I'm not like the military dude and make my bed every fucking morning and do like 100 push ups. I've been doing push ups lately though, so good for me. But yeah, I haven't been growing as much muscle as fast as I could be. I'm just kind of taking my time at the gym. I started going back to the gym after almost a couple months break. Like, I'll work out for a few months, couple seasons, and then I take like a month or two off because I'm like, man, I'm kind of bored. I'm in that bored phase. Very bored, and yeah, I have a lot of time to get the book done. I just, I don't feel like doing it, but that's where I was thinking about using some magic to, help me along with that. And then habits like these, like I need to quit smoking. Uh, it's a chemical addiction. I don't believe it's the nicotine at all. I have a vape that I should switch to, and it's just vegetable glycerin and nicotine extract, which is like the most minimal amount of chemicals I could, have compared to even an American Spirit that I've been smoking, the organic one in the turquoise package. So it looks like I'm wearing a mask. Anyway, I love me leaning a little forward. So it's just, yeah. So I have all these bad habits trained into me because the fucking being in a cocoon most of my life and on that autopilot, not present, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And so I could use some assistance with some better, habits. And there's some neighbors here. They're like, yeah, let's get together and do some creative stuff. So not coming from that annoying Jewish handler, right? I'm a little more receptive to it. It sounds fun. Sounds like you get the creative juices flowing. I'm a little bored. Struggling with the book, especially the beginning parts, and I'm not like the only motherfucker. Like, all these people part of the GATE program and these star seeds and shit and experimented on people, like, have a hard time remembering the beginning part of their life. And then when they talk about it, it's like that's what it was like for most of my life. Like, I could only remember like a couple dozen memories, and now it's like 100 or maybe even 200, like, just kind of like memories. But it's still a far cry from like a lot of people. They're like, oh yeah, back in 1987, in fucking January, the first week of January, it was Friday, and blah blah blah, this happened. I was like, 10 years old, and it's like, whoa, how do you remember that? Like, you know, so yeah, it's this beginning part that really kind of sucks. There's people I've been meaning to hang out with, and I just been a little sick, so maybe next week or something I'll get around to it, and checking things out with that. But it's something that I really got to do alone. I'm resisting the AI urge to, like, talk with AI. The only kind of temptation I've had was, could you rearrange my paragraphs or find repeats? Like, could you do, like, is AI able to do that for me? And keep it to like a bare minimum. I know a lot of fucking famous people and whatnot. Like, they don't even write their books. And they've been getting AI, and then they have deals, and then they get their like news and fucking talk shows to repeat it, and get the sheeple to fucking buy a bunch of their stupid ass books and shit. I really want to put mine online for free, and then also sell it, which will sadly be making money for some banker, but happily be making hopefully some money for me. So then I'm still interested in the stewardship, like the whole like aiming me and steering me, and like I don't want to be president and the deep state's bitch, because that's what it is right now. Steward of America, and sure, I offer my head and whatnot, but that's only like if I can't get it done. Like, if I can't get this done within 2 years, take my head, boot it back up, get some ballots going. Might be a little late or whatever, and get your candidates going. But I think we should definitely have an addition to the Constitution, like runoff voting. Runoff voting, where you could, pick multiple candidates, be like, look, I like this one, but if this one doesn't do it, then this one. And just stuff to make it, keep it more democratic. And yeah, we live in a constitutional republic, but we don't even follow the fucking Constitution. A lot of the corruption. So, I mean, it is a protection too, because they're having a real hard time with freedom of speech. But everybody relax with that fucking social media shit and fucking Zionists fucking buying all that shit. They're creating the illusion like, free speech only comes from these platforms. But they could take all that shit away on YouTube and everything, and you still got free speech. There's people challenging it, like, good, and they should, challenge that. Like burning the Israeli flag, you can't do that in America. Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here. Freedom of speech. Otherwise you're just corrupt. You're a corrupt judge, corrupt politician, anyone like charging for that. You're just corrupt. It's clear as day. And it could go far as into treachery. Not that we need to execute people, but also, maybe we get a few of them too. All right. So because they've killed a lot of people is the thing, and they're doing that with the fucking vaccine. They're like, look, everybody, this fucking cancer within the first 100 days of them getting treatment, blah, 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 blah. The standards that we never really applied to all these other things anyway. The COVID vaccine is great. See, like, you got this cancer immunity, everybody. And then it's like, we didn't take cancer fucking vaccine. We took fucking COVID vaccine. What the fuck are you talking about? And they're just, they're clearly poisoning people and trying to murder them, giving you all sorts of diseases, and then they're getting their fucking news people and whatnot that are complicit in all this shit, and their talk show people to, like, talk about it. They're like, yeah, look at this, people. You got this, COVID vaccine, protects against cancer. And that's not what people signed up for. And yeah, young people are getting cancer at higher rates and everything because you're trying to murder people, and there's a bunch of elites at the top that think that there's too many humans, and they can't admit to it, so they do shit like this, and they'll never admit to it. They'll never, ever, ever admit to it. So unless you have some of their mind reading technology and whatnot, and you could delve deep into their mind, and you have legit psychics that could, fist their brain and everything, like that chick in fucking Deadpool, then they'll never admit to it. All right. So so yeah. I just was mainly talking about, though, when I first started this, the not being present thing. So that's been, I mean, it's been helpful and hurtful. And during the whole, like, not present thing, I'm being steered in certain directions and shit. And they find it fascinating because it serves as, like, a divine protection for me. So they're like, well, where's Chris going? And what's he doing? Oh wow, he fucking dodged that. Like there's all these gang members and shit. They're like, you totally Dr. Magoo'd it, and there's Dr. Magoo, and there's all these traps falling, and he's like, just going through, like, avoiding all of them, not knowing. And yeah, so kitty, yeah, it's a little cold out. That kitty just ran inside. Anyway, so yeah, so yeah, it's been intense. It's been amazing. It's been disappointing. It's been like everything. It's been exciting. It's been boring. Been fascinating. Been a little disgusting. It's been all sorts of shit. And yeah. So yeah. I need to get the book done and just kind of put it out there and aid with the disclosure that other people are helping out with. I do appreciate that. And yeah, it can't be a one person thing. Like no one human could. And I need to tone down some. Yes, I am this interesting thing, but so is everyone else. And it saddens me that some people can't learn that. I try to tell some of these people that are totally like, they're totally blue pilled, and look, I was one of them too. During my cocoon phase, especially I was a teenager. My God, I was so fucking gaslit, just like a lot of teens are now, and a lot of kids are now. Then they use that schooling, like you're just better off homeschooling. If you have a trusted friend or something that's a neighbor or something that's doing this, they're like, yeah, I teach 4 other kids and my kid, then you get on that. They'll be more educated, less gaslit, less mind controlled and programmed. All right, and that's just good. All right, and then that doesn't rob them of their free will. That's some bullshit. That's that rubs me the wrong way, like with death. Punishments. Death punishments. Robbing people of their free will, to make clear choices. All right, and yeah, like I am kind of like for the downtrodden, kind of person. So I am kind of like ruined myself, if you could say that, ruined. But yeah, I like get raped a whole lot and talked about the anal, right? I got raped a lot as a child, so I enjoy anal now as an adult, and that's just totally understandable trauma responses. But they do that to a lot of people, all right? So I'm not the only one. They do that to millions, and that's wrong. That's wrong. And yeah, so what about the stuff? Oh yeah, like so they make like the LGBTQ community, but that doesn't like they got demonically influenced. They got roofied, raped as a child, and maybe even possessed. Very likely, that shit like happens on such a mass scale. Like when I said drawing lines of salt secretly. Where these demons have to pass it, whether they're like doorways or whatnot, or sidewalks, or when you guys are like interviewing a demon and they're just walking away, someone isn't going ahead and fucking making a line of salt and everything. So they pass it unknowingly. Do shit like that. But anyway, so like I could be for the downtrodden, and they do abuse a lot of people, and there I have my like sexual airing or something, but it's been a really big protection. I do want to try to, I do want to be celibate next month. And just kind of not do anything and save my sexual energy. It is a training of sorts, programming. So I want to take control and override the programming. So that's what I'm going to try to do, as well as, the smoking and unplugging from all the electronic stuff. Because when you pay attention to their shit and you're doing it en masse, then you're manifesting for them, and I don't want to do that. Some of us manifest more than others, and when they get us special targets, manifesting for them, that's even more. If I'm doing it for them and not for the people, then that's harmful. So I don't want to do that. So and then the smoking, I need to work on that. Because it is a chemical thing, and it's the chemicals they put in there, just like they put fucking chemicals in the buns at fast food restaurants. It's the exact same shit. And then you get hooked on the chemicals, and then they blame it on nicotine, or they're like, well, you're not exercising enough after eating McDonald's, your whole life for like decades. And maybe that is true, but it's also the fucking McDonald's that's fucking you up and making you addicted, and then you get cranky when you don't have your fucking chicken nuggets or whatever. So yeah, or French fries. You don't have that nostalgic taste that they trained into you when you were a child. It's a programming of sorts, and that's why they have all sorts of politicians that like eating the fucking burger. They're like, yeah, you want to fucking do this? Look, everybody, follow me, eat this. Total junk food. It's totally bad for you. Look at me. And it's like some overweight politician that's like fucking doing it, right? Some obese dude. Anyway, they're like little demons, and they're like, yeah, be like me. Fucking eat unhealthy and then ruin your fucking body. And then, you keep at that for fucking decades. And then if you ever make the realization, it's going to take you, a while to undo that, which would be overwhelming for, nearly everyone, if not everyone. So, and then them weaponizing compassion. I don't mind being compassionate at all. And I have lost a little bit of that after all the abuse. So, and not being present, things around town test me, and I need to just watch it, especially when I'm around annoying handlers, let's just say. That really isn't helpful. So yeah, I think they cast a magic, like a love spell and shit on me, so I need to, I was seeing the negative effects of the love spells, some videos and shit, and it's like, man, at least I'm not putting bad karma out there like they are, But yeah, I seem to be, making it through like all the magic and all this, people possessing me and trying to make me into some sort of monster. I have a slightly weird opinion when it comes to certain things, but, that's just part of society. I'm just recognizing. And instead of attacking everyone's family, I'm going to be like, look, to each their own, all right? Don't be too inappropriate like the Zionists, but the fucking, some of that eyes wide shut shit, too, where it's consensual, whatever. That's the least of your problems. And that does get me a lot of shit, but, whatever. I can't please everyone, But that's a very neutral stance, and I choose to take it because I don't feel like warring over every, little thing, and they roofie molest a lot of you, and then they turn, you guys against each other, and I'm just not into all that shit, I understand, there's, the difference and everything, and people try to find the predators. Well, you probably should focus on the Zionists, or whatever mask they're wearing. They got, fucking, a stripe of every color and creed. They infiltrate, so, They probably definitely infiltrate the Satanist groups to just make them look bad. They're like, oh yeah, Satan totally wants you to fucking, eat a baby. You bake them at 350, for 45 minutes. And yeah, there's those. I think there's nicer ones. I find the Christians really cool, and I find the little bit naughty Satanists really cool. I'm not into like the horrific stuff, but that again, like Zionists, they infiltrate, and they just like they make up ISIS and all that shit and HTS now, and they're like, look at what these people do. It makes all Muslims bad. These people that we made, and da 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 da. It's just like the Nazis, and they make a bunch of dumb Nazis though too. So, I think the actual Nazis are resisting Zionists. I don't think they're actually working for them, but I think there's a lot of mind controls where we saw a lot of the ugly ones in Ukraine. The Zionist mind controlled Nazis, in Ukraine. And they're like, oh, look at these Azov motherfuckers and blah blah blah, and yeah, those are the Zionist ones. So they have people of every creed and color, all right, and they muddy the waters. So then you want to join a group, and they muddy that water, and they get a bunch of mind control black people, and like that stabbed the Ukrainian chick. And that was a total mind control. They could have even been psychically, sitting around him, willing that, and trying to get him to do it, and the weaker ones succumb to that. And also there's the demonic possession shit that people don't really take into account for. Like when some criminals, like, they come out and they're like, look, I was like possessed. It was like a demon or something. And it's like, yeah, that's totally true. Like, I mean, you still, should face punishment and everything, but like, also, like, who fucking sucked the possession on you in the first place? Because they would be at fault, more than the person. Like, if you possess somebody and to do something horribly evil, that's on the person doing that shit, right? Like, duh. Like, I know people don't think about this stuff because they like are totally gaslit on it, but yeah. So I mean, they could have been self-possessing themselves too, right? And that does occur when you fuck around, and then you find out. So and there's lots of ways to do it. To people looking into weird spells and whatnot, or annoying demons with a fucking Ouija board too much, and yeah. So, but like when criminals say that, like, they're like, man, I was possessed, and I don't know what came over me, and it's like, yeah, that's what like, okay, I lashed out a lot at my family, but it was never like horrific. But it was, enough to do it for long enough, and throughout my young years when they knew me, that it created the family division. But there was like a few times where I lashed out, and people like 3 different times in my life. I know my grandmother told it to me, and I like lash out and I'll shout, and they're like, "You look like a demon, Chris." Like, my face changed and everything, and like something came through, and that was whatever was the fuck attached to me. And I think it was that Jesuit witch that kept love from me for a long time. So, but I was also to create havoc too, with my family, right? Hey kitty kitty, hey kitty kitty, kitty kitty, joy, yeah. So So yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, I turned out really well, actually. Like, oh my God, the amount of shit that I had to deal with. I mean, there's a lot of people that won't believe in, the possession stuff and whatever. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I at least know what occurred, and that's good, and and I made it through all right, with some airing, I would say I have a hard time being, celibate and quitting smoking and writing my book. I have a bunch of bad habits I need to somehow undo. Um, and yeah, but I believe I'll get there though. This year has been kind of like a calming down year, and making a few realizations. I'll probably make a video about that, like a little list. It's just been a different year. And yeah, we'll still get there. Um, and yeah, I thank you guys, love you. The ones, the helpers. Thanks. I'm really grateful for it. It's a different experience, and now I kind of don't know what to do because it's like, well, fuck, I'm now present and shit. And now I have these bad habits where I been doing a lot of learning through very interesting YouTube videos, but I could be learning like for the rest of my life every day, and I still wouldn't know it all. And comes a time where I just gotta let go and do something else. And so it's been taking a while to get to that point, and I do apologize to everyone that has been struggling. What's taken me so long, and that's pretty much what's taken me so long. Just the shock and everything, and the bad habits. Being dispossessed is really nice. I hope that's the case. Maybe they're still lurking around, and just waiting to strike. Maybe. I don't think that is the case, but we'll see in future interactions. So like, some shadow figure fucking pulls me away from someone and, magically makes me not possessed and not able to react to the situation as I normally, would and should. So yeah. So yeah, I'm able to talk to some cool cats around here though, so that's nice. Um, and yeah, okay, kitty. Yeah, meow, meow. All right, let me get going. I'm getting all distracted here by my kitty cat. You guys have a lovely day. I just wanted to mention the whole possession thing. Thanks for biting my ass, cat. My cat, fucking, when I don't pay attention to her, she bites me. Good for you. She's my butt kicker in chief, actually. And so yeah, I'd be talking at the fucking camera or watching the fucking screen instead of living life. And I need to unplug. And there's a lot of good people getting the sheep some information. Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Ian Carroll. I got a little worried about Ian Carroll when I first noticed him because, like, I detect like that someone's involved, but then like there's like the good group and then the bad group, and so I didn't know Ian was part of the good group until I thought about it a little bit more. So, maybe he is the good CIA dude. He was definitely propped up and put out there. There's definitely some culty shenanigans, but the good kind of shenanigans, all right? Not the bad kind of shenanigans, but the good shenanigans. Someone say shenanigans one more time. you you know, so yeah, yeah, thanks for the healing and everything. Sorry I haven't, sorry it's been a slow year. We'll get there. And don't think of the stuff negative. Don't let them gaslight you. That's no fucking lizard person ship. All right. I think it's just meant to kind of raise the vibration of the planet because everyone's so fucking inundated with these EMF signals that are like negative frequencies, and it fucks their brain up. I'm telling you. There's all these images of plants growing next to these smart meters and cell phone towers and shit, like other trees dying, plants not fruiting. There's a guy with like a fruit tree, either oranges or lemons, I think. And it like on the side that was right by the smart meter, it wasn't fruiting, And then just a few feet away, where it was furthest away from the smart meter, the tree was fruiting. These things are obvious. Yeah, these things are all fucking weapons, and they're saying, like, oh, it's this smart technology and all this shit is so advanced and blah blah blah, but it's just shit. It's just shit. The way y'all should be living, is a little closer. You don't need to live exactly like, but closer to like the Amish. Cutting down on all the electronics. Interacting with your neighbors, and that's something they disconnected us from successfully. We're all just, inside talking to a camera, and yeah, there's benefits to that. But, where there's just like my dildos, okay? Like me being asexual with myself and having a hard time sex with others has been a super duper big protection. But it could also be hurtful. And so there's that nice balance, right? And the balance of things. And so I was going to take, it's been super healing, been super self healing. I love myself, and, I haven't been able to say that for most of my life. And I didn't even realize that I was like that until, like my late 30s. And so, yeah, it's been one hell of a ride. Definitely much further than I was 5 years ago. So, people are like, well, 5 years and everything. And sure, I haven't worked out as much as KMFDM does, fucking at the gym. But I'm getting there. I'm looking pretty beefy. I got that tiny belly. It is so tiny. It's just like a fist and a half full of belly that I could kind of grab onto when I'm fucking like sitting down, leaning forward. It's below the belly button instead of above. I lost like 40, 45 pounds like the past 5 years. It's been amazing. Well, I was like 115, 120, and then, well, I've lost more than that because I'm like 170, 175. Sometimes, like, when I eat too much one day, I'll get up to like 180. But yeah, I'm normally down to like 175, 170, 175, which is nice. Been maintaining that for a while. I haven't been eating breakfast since July. Most days. Some days I'll eat a breakfast. Man, I smoked all this weed, which is another thing I need to work on. But that, like, stopping weed is like super easy. It's like the easiest out of all those. It's just like, oh, okay. I'm kind of bored though too, so I guess I'll smoke some. But the cigarette thing, being celibate, those are a little harder, and things that I need to work on and will work on. Hey, squirrels. My school friend's coming around. All right. Well, you guys have a lovely day, and I just, want to talk about a few things. And sorry, my brain is all like still scrambled and whatnot. I'm not definitely as good of a speaker as some of the other ones. There's this awesome YouTuber, Statements by Alex, and she talks about this cool stuff, and good for her. Like I like that. I like the ability of people being able to talk about this stuff. And so she's helped me realize some things, and I understand I should try to be celibate, and raise my vibration so then I could help more people out. Is essentially, what I'm, getting from all that. Because when I lower my vibration and I just do all this stuff, then I don't manifest as much, and so I need to, be in control, and at least, with the celibate thing, that seems to be the next easiest one. The cigarettes is really hard because it's like a chemical addiction. So I believe I could still do it though. I might need to do some magic to pull it off, but it'll be positive. I won't be casting on anyone else, just myself. Just give me a little boost here, like Final Fantasy. I'm increasing the defense and attack really quick here. Maybe casting a magic repel spell or something. Um, yeah, so it is such like a video game. Oh my god. Um, yeah, there's truth in everything, even the video games. But yeah, all right, you folks take care. Have a lovely, blessed day. Um, and yeah, peace the fuck out.